In this episode, we're going to talk about installing the custom built Castlemaine Rod Shop 9-inch in the XW Falcon. Let's go. Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be chatting about the 9-inch. So just to get into it, I'm Rob, this is Rob's Garage. This is my Australian 1969 Ford XW Falcon. Something I grew up with, so I've always loved them. So anyway, let's talk 9-inch. Alright, so we're going to be looking at how I installed this, some of the parts that I've installed with it. So I've basically replaced the whole suspension underneath the Falcon. So if you know, these are a leaf spring rear end. The V8s did come with, I don't know if all of them did, but the GTs essentially all came with a 9-inch. This is a custom made 9-inch, so it's not an original Ford 9-inch. It was actually custom built for me by Castlemaine Rod Shop. It has a shortened 9-inch, so I think it was 960 millimeters wide. I'll put something up here that says it. Stronger axles, I think they're 31 spline, stronger diff center, Willwood disc brakes. But I'm currently running, or want to run, the Weld Pro lights. Also Calvert mono leafs under there, and Calvert Caltrax. It's a whole set. Does come with its challenges though. Let's talk about that. So the reason for getting a shortened 9-inch was these rims. They're an 8-inch rim, but they're also a bit deeper than a standard wheel because of the offset I've got. I don't remember the offset off the top of my head. I'll put that somewhere here. But to fit that rim under the guard, I needed to get a shortened 9-inch. Also, talking about the leaf springs, the Calvert mono leaf doesn't fit the standard shackle. So you need to, or the standard bush, so you need to change that bush. I ended up putting Calvert sliders under there as well. So, and there's no bracket to fit a Calvert slider directly onto a Falcon. So I'm going to make my own. For the slider mount, I did actually just make a very rough bracket just to sort of sit it in there and see how it's going to look. And now I'm going to create my own bracket to fit that Calvert slider, just all bolt in. No cutting, no welding. So you don't have to make any modifications. And if you're at home and you don't have a welder or whatever, maybe it can come out with a bracket that you can just buy and bolt it up to a Calvert slider and do the same kind of thing if you're veering away from factory. But anyway, let's look at how this whole show went getting the 9-inch in.
All right, one of the things I've been wanting to work on is the 9-inch. Now I've had it for a while now, and it's probably long overdue to go in. The main reason I want it in there is I'm sick of having it sitting here on my garage floor. Also, I want to see these in, and I want to get rid of what's in there, which is just the factory stuff, and get rid of it. So anyway, I'll have a quick look here and show you what we're working on. So I've got the wheels off. I've got it on jack stands just behind the eyelets there. We can get this off. We can undo this and get the 9-inch in there. All right, we are making some progress on the removal. I've basically got the rear hangers unbolted from up there. Got some new rubber bushes. I've got the diff on some stands, and I've got the chassis also on stands. And that one is also unmounted. So we've just got to do the front eyes, or eyelets, whatever they're called, the front of the leaf spring there. Also need to undo the rest of the tail shaft there. I've already undone most of it, but I didn't want to take it off just so the front of the diff's not just dropping down completely. So I can keep it stabilised before I take it out. Anyway, keep cracking on. Alright, so she's out. You have a look under here. It's all disconnected. It's a matter of just pulling out some of the fittings. Maybe that bit there to go on the other diff. We'll have to give it a good clean up, but the rest of it pretty much good to go to a new home or steel yards. Alright, we're cleaning underneath the floor here, and because I want to put the diff in, I need to get all this cleaned up and my plan is to put some KBS rust seal. So all this has got to come off. I've had to cut some of the exhaust. I'm going to cut more of it and remove these brake lines and clean everything up to the floor pan on both sides. So all this needs to be cleaned so I can get a coat of KBS on it. Right, so we've got the Calvert mono leaves, which are, I don't know, as far as I understand, they're specific to my Falcon. I don't know if they fit on anything else, but I know I purchased them as for a Falcon, an Aussie Falcon, and I believe they're lowered 1 inch. So it will be interesting to see where it sits. It's currently sitting about there, but that's got no tank, no fuel, half of the back's off. And it's got lowering blocks, quite big one. So I'm not going to have any lowering blocks this time, I don't think. So I'm just going to mount this in. I've got the Caltrax here, which you can see how it's going to mount. This part of the Caltrax will sit on top of the spring. This will be bolted in here, and the bar will sit underneath there. You'll have a bar sitting underneath this, so we can have a look at that later. But anyway, I just want to get this mounted in here. To do that, get this bush, which goes inside here, and we have to lube it up. All right, so I've degreased underneath, and you'll see it's pretty clean. It looks pretty good. Time for the rust blast, which would be like an etch, and give the surface a texture or surface to stick to for the rust seal. So that'll be good. And I'm going to get ready to do the rust blast to etch the surface and then rust seal. Alright, while I'm eating this mandarin, first coat's done. Pretty happy with it. Be interesting to see how it looks when you can see some brush strokes, but I'm sure as hell not going to get under there with a spray gun and try and spray underneath the car. If it was on a rotisserie, different story, I'd be spraying it, but I'm not doing a rotisserie on this. So let's jump under and have a look. I think it looks pretty good. I just got to put a second coat on. Alrighty, so under here you can see the black coating. It looks pretty good. I mean, you can see some brush marks, and it definitely needs a second coat. I haven't done everything, like the outside of the rail, because I haven't really cleaned under there properly, and I'm probably going to just stop where that is. So we'll have to come back and do some other bits, but they'll be a lot easier to get to. I'm just doing this bit here right now. So it actually looks pretty good. All the way to the floor there. Alright, this is not finished. It's going to have to come back out, but because there's still some repairs to be done behind here, but I've got some of the brackets and stuff done. And obviously this is still all going to be cleaned up. I've still got to do some repairs here. But I've got the 9-inch here. We're going to jack it up. We're going to put it up on some stands. I have to brace the yoke so the diff's not tipping forward. And then I'm going to put the springs underneath and start to mount it. Okay, so I've now got the 9-inch kind of held up by the jack, and I have got it also on some stands. So I've got the jack sort of stopping it from rotating forward. I've got the front eyelets here mounted, and I think I'm pretty close to aligning the pin on the Diff. Okay, so you can see the wheelwood caliper there, and you can see where the bracket is for the leaf spring. Now it's actually not so much the leaf, but the bracketry that goes around the split mono leaf. So that bracket is really, really close, and it might even touch. I'll leave this up. So the leaf spring's gonna go about there.
There's really not a lot of, depending on where this ends up being, it's very close. I'll have to align the diff with the leaf spring to see how it is. But yes, it's going to be close. So if we have a look at the wheel, like there is a bit of clearance on this side, you know, with the caliper, so that's good. This is the smaller disc. I can't remember. I didn't, basically with this disc, I will be able to fit a 14-inch rim. And the clearance so far looks really good. If we look down, it's definitely under that guard, and I think this guard needs a bit of work. So probably going to be looking a little bit better than that. The other side's really good, but this is not quite finished. All right, run into our first problem, which is this is the shackle, which we've had a bit of a look at. This is the bushing that comes with the Caltrack or Calvert mono leaf, and this does not fit in there, so that's just not going to fit in there. It's about 2 millimeters too small. All right, so it looks like I've gone as pretty much as far as I can go with putting a 9-inch in, mainly because the shackles don't fit the bushings. So I've ordered some sliders, and I'll have to look at probably making some kind of a bracket to weld the sliders to. All right, guys, I'm working on this pretty late tonight, or later on. It's not that late, it's about 9-10 o'clock. Mainly just to get this Calvert mono leaf and sliders set up, and the Caltrack. So the Caltracks are set up here. So I've got these set up. I didn't take any video of that, mainly because I just wanted to get this done. And down the back here, I've got some temporary mounting for the sliders, because I'm going to do a bit of work on a slider that a mounting bracket that I can get to fit an XW Falcon, XY, I guess XRXT. Alrighty. So yeah, I'm actually looking at making some custom slider mounts for a Falcon. I haven't been able to find anything that allows you to just bolt something on. Obviously I could weld it to the chassis, and I did think about that, but I'm actually prefer to do something that's reversible. So if you want to go back to a factory sort of setup, it's not that difficult, rather than having to cut, you know, a bracket and stuff off. So I'm looking at making a bracket for mounting Calvert sliders. I'm going to play around with this position of them, and then I'm looking at maybe making a couple. So if you're interested in potentially buying a set of custom brackets for Calvert sliders, because you're interested in doing something similar to this, let me know, because I'd be interested in seeing who would be willing to purchase something like that, and maybe I can have something that I can sell. So that's the idea, and I guess it would, work on all Falcons from XR to XY. Not sure how much different XA to XD are. They're probably very similar, I'd imagine, but I'm just, you know, obviously very, very much in prototype stage. So maybe that's something I could do. Let me know if you have an interest in that. Anyway, I'm going to keep cracking on and get this diff fitted. All right, so we're coming to the end of the 9-inch installation. So overall, I'm really happy with it. The car looks good. I'm really happy with the install and how things have sort of come together, other than the slider brackets, which I'm working on. I'll have to keep going with that, but also it's time to get back onto the more tedious stuff, which is cleaning panels and doing prepping for paint, which cars I'm a big fan of. I like welding, but it's time to continue on so we can make some progress. Anyway, thanks for watching the video, and we'll see you on the next one. Take care.